Okay, front row MMA here with Michael Younis after an impressive first round knockout here at FCC 11. Did you think it was going to be like that?
I knew that eventually I'd stop Adam. I knew he's never fought anybody like me before. He is a tough guy, very durable guy. He's known for lasting the fights, going the distance. Even the fights that he's lost, he's mainly gone the distance. I think he's only been stopped once, as far as I know. So to stop him, was a great honour for me. To be here at FCC, it's a great honour for me. So I want to thank the guys, definitely.
I mean, personally, I've seen you fight on local. It was at Pure MMA before, I think, on Dan's show. Is this the first time on FCC or you fought before?
It's my first time on FCC. Adam's had his eye on me for a little while, Adam T. We've been discussing, trying to negotiate the correct circumstances in which for me to appear on FCC. And we got it right. And Adam, my hat's off to him, has not cut any corners with bringing me here to FCC. It's literally the best I've ever been treated. It's the top show I've ever been on. And it's an honour to be here fighting for him on the show.
I want to talk to you a bit about, is it Wolverhampton MMA right now? And obviously K-Bomb before and things like that. How did that split affect, sort of for starters? And just talk us a little bit through that.
Oh, politics. I'm going to be careful with what I say here because I'm friends with, Dan and Paul. Those guys had something special down at Pure MMA. I'm telling you, I've never. The only place I can compare to Pure MMA when we had it is Blackledge when I've gone and trained with Andy Clamp. It's the closest thing, For whatever circumstances, nothing lasts forever. Whatever circumstances, those guys split up. Some guys went with Paul, some guys went with Dan. It was tough. I went with Dan. Dan headhunted me. Dan was the one who brought me down Pure MMA. It was only correct. I followed Dan wherever Dan was going. With no animosity towards anybody who stayed down at Pure, which eventually became Calbon. It was tough because we were like a family down there. I mean, I'm telling you, we're like a family. It's close knit. Everybody loved everybody, everyone helped everybody, everyone trained hard. It was a team of animals down there. It's been tough splitting because obviously once we split, it's new guys that come over to the gym. You have to try and find your niche and you have to try, the two trainers that trained you aren't together anymore. So it's about one trainer's there, but it's now to find another angle to train you at. Because you had Dan that was really technical and showed you how to do a technique. And Paul was just a fighter. It's like, we're having a scrap now, let's get in there. This is how we scrap. So it's about finding that balance, and I think Dan's getting it right down there. It's a work in progress. He's got a lot of guys coming in now, and he's doing well. And my hat's off to Dan. He's worked through some tough times. Thank him.
So obviously Dan's been able to take the momentum from the old Pure gym and work the magic where you are now.
Yeah. One thing I can say about Dan is he cares. He'll constantly be contacting you. How are you doing? How's your weight? What are you eating? How many calories have you taken in today? Why aren't you at training? Those are the things you need if you want to, succeed. You need people that are around you that care. I've been at places before. The people around me didn't care. They only cared once I want to fight. Dan's different. He cares whether I'm winning, whether I'm losing, whether I'm there, whether I'm not there. He's a mate, definitely.
Well, like I say, Wolverhampton MMA, they're on a roll at the minute. I've seen a few of the fighters since you switched, all going good. I want to talk to you about UTC. It's a gym I'm really familiar with. How's the training been going down there?
The training down there is fantastic. Those guys have got a mega facility. Anybody on this, who's watching this that is not familiar with UTC, Google them. Like literally Google UTC Birmingham. When you have a look, you will be in awe. Seriously, it's an amazing facility. You've never been to a facility like it, And the guys down there, they took me in with open arms and they've been training really hard with me down there. They've really pushed me. They're the ones that have been making sure I could last 5 rounds in there. It was my first 5-round fight, And even though I finished in the first, I was ready to go 5 because Adam's tough. Adam normally lasts, the fight.
And I want to ask you the question, just going off tangent a bit. Leon Edwards just signed for the UFC. How special is that kid?
That guy's special. The only other guy that I've ever trained with and thought, oh my God, this guy is like a prodigy, like he's a genius at what he does, is Harry Marple. The only other person that I've trained with and I thought to myself, this guy is something special. Leon Edwards and Harry Marple. And I've trained with people everywhere, Those two guys, once I've stepped in there, those guys are like absolutely amazing. And they're small. If they were in the same weight class as me, I'd change weight class. There'd be no room in there for me, literally. He's special, something special. He's gonna make waves in UFC, definitely.
And speaking of Harry, fighting tonight, how do you think that's gonna go?
I think Harry's gonna stop him. Nobody understands how hard Harry hits until he hits them. They don't understand how durable he is until he goes the distance with you. That guy is something special, seriously. That guy, mark my words, that guy's going to be world champion at some point, definitely.
And I heard you say in the cage afterwards there was a bit of extra motivation for this fight. I heard you say in the cage afterwards there was a little bit of extra motivation for this fight. You want to tell us a bit about that?
My uncle Jeffrey, he's like a dad to me, literally. We did everything together, trained together, gym together, watch our UFCs together at 3 AM in the morning. And one day on his way from the gym, he had a heart attack, he passed away. It tore me up, really did break me. For a little while I was really emotional. But just before that I made a promise to him. He's a funny guy. And the last fight he had come to, I actually lost the last fight he had come to. I just ran out of gas in the fight. Something that I've corrected this time around. But one of the things he said to me while we were both on the treadmill together, he turned around to me and said, you know I don't talk to losers. So it made me laugh. You know, he was a funny guy like that. And I promised him, I said, Uncle, you won't see me lose again. And by that time I'd had the fight, you know, I'd been offered the fight with FCC, which I accepted gladly. And I said, I'm going to be next champion for you, Uncle. And he said, okay, you better make sure, otherwise I'm not talking to you again. And he passed away before he could see me do that. But one thing I knew was that I was not going to break my promise today. I fulfilled one of the greatest promises I've ever made to anybody in my whole life. You know, I became FCC champion.
Well, I'm sure your uncle's really proud, man. What can we expect from the future? Are you going to defend this belt?
Of course. It's a great honour to have won this belt. It's a prestigious title. This title is probably the best amateur title in the UK right now. I sincerely believe so. No bums have ever fought for this title. But you have to look at the calibre of guys who have held this title. Brett McDermott, Sean Hampton, Andy Clamp, and I'm on that list. I couldn't ask for more.
Okay, and finally, the last question we ask everybody. Sponsors, shout outs, this is your chance to do it straight to camera.
Yeah, big shout out to UTC, to Wolverhampton MMA and Dan Corbley, to my brother who's in my corner every time, to Blackledge MMA. Those guys have been, really pushing me down there. Ian Quigley at Powerbeck. Everybody that's been behind me and genuinely pushing me. I want to thank everybody that came out tonight. You got guys that have travelled serious distance. Nottingham, Derby, Reading, Birmingham. People have travelled a distance to come and support me down here. And if it wasn't for them, motivating me and pushing me. And, people that just would generally put up with my miserableness, because I can be miserable near the end of a camp. You're hungry, you're tired. That's it. So thank you, everybody. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure watching you fight again. Look forward to it next time. Try and knock him out in 10 seconds next time then, yeah. Cheers.